Bengals trade talks are escalating. A new trade target has been revealed. With the struggles of Jake Browning already and this early in the season, the Bengals might look elsewhere to try and pick up the slack from Joe Burrow's recent injury. We're going to break down the details and if this is an option the Bengals should pursue. Welcome to the jungle. This is Isaac Coffman with Bengals Digest. Happy to see all you Bengals fans, and if you want to be up to date on everything Bengals, join in on the discussion, smash that subscribe and get your voice heard, show your stripes down, your comments, what you're feeling going into Monday night against the Broncos. What's your confidence level? How you feeling? We'd love to hear from you and your thoughts. So with Jake Browning coming out the gate struggling, it's been not a pretty sight. We tried to put last Sunday behind us, the Minnesota Vikings game. It's the worst loss in franchise history. And a big part of that was Jake Browning. You can go back to the turnovers of the fumbles, but he did have 2 turnovers. He, in fact, has had 5 interceptions through 2 games. And that's just not going to cut it. He's has to be on some kind of short leash at this point. I'll go back to my thoughts of what the problem could be. But regardless, there has been a report that has come out saying that the Bengals could potentially be looking at Russell Wilson, who was just benched for Jackson Dart by the New York Giants. So this is an interesting thought because Russell Wilson is 36 years old. The Bengals just don't typically go after older players. That's what they've done in history. Doesn't mean that they won't, that they never will. That's just what history has shown. They've not been the type to really go after those types of players. They're more on the younger side. But it is an interesting concept. This is a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He's got the experience, and the Bengals are young. They could use any kind of experience from someone that's been there. They've done that. And with Joe Burrow, again, looking like at least 3 months, possibly longer, what are you going to do in this situation? I don't believe Russell Wilson is going to be the fix for this team. There's a lot of things this team is going to have to get changed and fixed. And one of those is not exactly the quarterback. It needs to improve. I'm going to just say all areas, defense, offense, special teams, it was not good on Sunday. You hope that's the worst outing they're going to have all year long. But this is something I will bring up. The thing we have to keep in mind is this offensive line has got to get better. I know you're tired of hearing it. It's for years. This offensive line has not produced. I throw this up again. I've brought it out in the past, but I bring it up again. Your overalls, PFF. And I'm not saying PFF is everything, but if you looked at the eye test, I think you would agree that offensive line struggled. It did not look good, and it has not looked the best all year. There's been glimpses here and there where they've given time, but whoever you put back there, they're going to be under pressure. So it comes down to if Jake Browning continues to struggle, certainly they need to look at a change. And I feel for him because it could partially be the offensive line. The pass blocking has struggled. I mean, you have ones that are so low ranked. If you just kind of scan through on the overalls and the pass blocking, it's not good. It doesn't matter who you stick back there unless you have a guy that can scramble, which Russell Wilson has shown in the past. But again, for 36 years old, is he going to be able to do that for you? It's really hard to say, but I will say this isn't a perfect scenario where they bring in Russell Wilson and all their problems are going to be solved. It's going to take more. That offensive line is where they start on offensive side of the ball at the very least. The run game, they've got to get that going. I've talked about it in a previous video. If they don't get the running game going, which is going to start with that offensive line, opening holes for Chase Brown, it doesn't matter who you got back there as quarterback. They're going to probably produce similar or what Jake Browning has done, and that's a scary thought. That's a really scary thought. I hope that all this week, that offensive line has just been studying film. They have been doing all that they can to improve. It was one game, but you cannot repeat that. You just absolutely can't repeat that. Now, when it comes to Russell Wilson, is that something that might appeal to him? One thing I want to note is he did get quoted for being benched. You think of a guy that he wants his shot, but this is what he had to say. He said, "For me personally, I'm not done. I've got so much belief in myself, and I know what I'm capable of. I know I can help this football team if that comes up." So he does still sound hungry. Like he wants to start, and that's what you would obviously want, is someone that feels like they can still produce. The thing is with Russell Wilson, going back to, he's 36 years old. He just got benched by the New York Giants. So that's the quarterback you're going to get. Whether that was just a little blimp, maybe he can improve. His stats weren't nothing really jumping off of the stat sheets. 59.1% completion percentage. He had 3 touchdowns for 3 interceptions as well to go along with that. His rating is sitting around 76 for the year. And this is 3 games, right? This is a small sample size that you're looking at. But I wouldn't say it's just a home run. Like, this is for sure. You got to go get him right this second. He'll fix everything. I'm hearing a lot of that talks of they just need to bench Browning. I'm not saying that they need to look elsewhere, because you got to have options. You can't just keep relying on a guy that, again, through his 2 games, he has already thrown 5 interceptions. It's just not acceptable. Not good. Now, given 3 of those, that was actually a victory. That was against the Jaguars, where he came in late. You can kind of see that coming off of the bench. He's knocking some rust off. He's getting accustomed to getting reps with the first team. And he did that game-winning drive. I mean, a lot of credit goes to him for that. But he was not looking himself on Sunday. I will go back to, it's not entirely him. But I do think if Russell Wilson could be a guy that fits in, if he has the weapons around him, you're talking Chase Brown, you're talking T. Higgins, Mike Gesicki, all those guys. If it can open up Russell Wilson, then why not? Why not take a flyer on this guy, especially since he sounds like he is wanting to start. He sounds like he still has fuel left in the tank, so to say, even at his age of 36. If the Bengals do acquire him, it looks like his salary, he would earn up to $10.5 million max. It's a lot of performance-based incentives in his contract, so it wouldn't hurt the cap space. The Bengals are still sitting really well on the cap space, around 25 to 30 million. I believe they're at about 28, but they could certainly afford it. If he's hitting all those performance, that means that the Bengals are probably going to the playoffs. He has led them to some kind of great year where he is putting up stats not like the first 3 weeks that we've seen so far. So I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't know if it's something you want to rush out and do at this point. Right now, you've got other fish to fry. You've got a lot to be concerned with when it comes to that offensive line. That's got to be on Zach Taylor's plate right now. The number one thing he needs to fix is that offensive line, because they're going nowhere if that offensive line produces like it has so far this year. It's just facts. If you cannot protect a quarterback, I don't care who you got back there, they're not going to produce. Maybe there's a quarterback that can do better than Jake Browning. I'm not saying he is the answer, but don't expect Joe Burrow type of stats. Joe Burrow is just able to make stuff happen. That's his big thing, is making the big plays, extending plays, trying to dance around in the pocket when there's pressure, which unfortunately he has been getting a lot of pressure. That's going to be a lot of questions that is going to be going into what are they going to do to fix this offensive line? Because again, if it doesn't get resolved, they're gonna see more results from Sunday. I go back to, that's a scary, scary thought. But we want to hear from you guys. Do you think the Bengals should go after Russell Wilson? Is that a trade they'd be worth doing? Some are saying a 7th round pick, something along those lines. Still remains to be seen if that's an option, if the Giants would want to trade. But still, if it's maybe a 6th, 7th rounder, would you do that trade? We want to hear from you guys, so comment below. And again, if you have not already, smash that subscribe button so you'll be all up to date when all of our new content drops. So that's going to do it for now, guys. As we say, Hoo day.